I'm not exactly certain what to say other than these are two cities that are unprecedented times, and we're all. I think the biggest thing that we've communicated to our student athletes, our fans, our alumni, and parents, and so forth is the information is changing so quickly and so rapidly that I think we'll continue to just try to wait for all the best information to get in and then take it from there. But certainly unlike anything I ever thought I would coach to.
Brad, Nico Hefflinger with Fox, Illinois. Has this been a little different than you for maybe some of the other spring coaches in the sense that you guys did have some of your season already in the fall, so you were kind of a way through your year already?
No question. And I think for us particularly, when we're getting this portion of our season, it's kind of almost the exact midway point, if you will. And we're doing a lot of evaluation and figuring out where we are. It was an interesting time for us because we didn't start the season as well as we would have liked to. And then just as I think, maybe lots of times we're struggling at this point. We've had a big start to the season, maybe our top 10, and then now we're transitioning to outdoor play and trying to figure out how we're going to navigate that. And this season had just a little bit of the opposite feel of that, where we didn't start that strong, and then maybe we're gearing up and feeling better about where we're going. And then just an incredibly unique set of circumstances to finish the season.
Brad, this is Lauren. Is it possible for your players, unlike those maybe in football or whatever, to practice against each other across the nets? I mean, can they still get together and do that somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. And so our guys are doing that. I think the biggest hurdle, some of our guys are down in Florida, where obviously you can go to a public facility, public park, and walk on. The biggest hurdle right now back in the Midwest is just weather. So I know there's been some couple of good days where guys have gone out and hit with friends or family members or a couple of teammates are together at the moment. So they can do that. I don't feel there's an issue with that. They're still, as one of our boosters pointed out the other day, because I'm the epitome of social distancing. I'm 80 feet away from the guy on the other side of the net. Now, I'm sure you're holding balls and touching balls that, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty. But, I think it's something everybody's got to find their outlet and do that in the most responsible manner. But our guys have been practicing some with each other.
But you can't practice indoors?
Well, again, Atkins is closed, and we don't have many of our guys in Champaign. And then I would say most indoor tennis club facilities that I'm aware of throughout the Midwest have now closed the doors at this point.
Hey, Brad, it's Jeremy from 24. Obviously, you guys might have extra eligibility for you guys. Is that something you talked about with Kova and Zeke, and what do you think of that possibility?
Yeah, it's incredibly unique. I've had so many conversations with coaches and Josh and then our other rest of our senior administration staff and obviously with our athletes. And what I have told our guys, I think my personal opinion is we're a little bit early to sort of recognize what solutions might be out there. Just as me as a coach tries to navigate it, and the issues of roster size and equivalencies and gender equity and APR. There's so many, just those factors alone make it incredibly complex. And then I think when you add the budget aspect into it, that's a whole other factor. So my feeling and what I've communicated to student athletes is let's sit back, hold tight, and see where the NCAA, the athletic directors, and the presidents, when they find some common ground on this and give us some direction, then we'll move forward with more official talks on what our plans are.
And Brett, I think a couple of guys on the team, are they still here, or what's kind of going on with them?
Say that question again, sorry?
I know you have a couple international guys on the team. Are they still on campus, or what's going on with them?
Yeah, so we have Noe Khalif and Sipos Mansi, and Sipos has an uncle that lives full-time in Boca Raton. He was able to get out on a flight earlier this week, and so he's down in Boca with his uncle and their family. So they're down there, and he's I've been talking with him every day. He's kind of holed up in a good spot there. And then Noe Khalif went home with Alex Brown's family to Iowa. So he's in Des Moines, Iowa, with the Brown family, and they're great people. And so Tim Brown makes cookies and brownies every day, so he's a pretty happy camper there. So,
Brad, this is Gavin Good from 247. Is with tennis players being able to play challenger tournaments and kind of having eligibility work a little differently. Is it different than other sports, maybe for seniors who are considering that year of eligibility versus weighing whether to go pro?
No question, and that's something Smalley and I have talked a little bit about. There's a big distinguishment in golf between amateur golf and professional golf, and in tennis those lines are blurred quite a bit. So as anyone who follows our program would recognize, a number of our student athletes play professional events throughout the year, not just in the summertime, but also even in the fall and sometimes in the spring. So our guys vacillate back and forth between collegiate events, so-called amateur events, and professional events, playing them as an amateur. So that, as you look at our guys and the decision about whether they would attempt to come back and have another year, they might be able to successfully blur those lines a little bit, and I think and still find a way to continue to pursue their professional dreams while also maybe gaining a year of eligibility back should it come to that.
Brad, you mentioned maybe you guys were coming around a little bit right when this got canceled. What was just kind of the team's reaction, and when did you guys find out, and what did you guys do from that moment?
Yeah, honestly, the decision, we had a staff meeting scheduled last Thursday at 3 o'clock, and that was scheduled from the day before. And in my honest opinion, I don't think Josh was intending to tell us that our seasons were going to be canceled, but that Thursday morning, he was in Indianapolis for the tournament. I think the ADs met, and then that decision was made. And so then, I think just before that meeting, we knew. We asked our team to come back at 4:30 on Thursday. We sat down and had that discussion, and needless to say, when you've got guys like our seniors, and the interesting thing, too, is I think, it's not just, we all keep talking about the seniors, but it's everybody. There's a lot of people that, Alex Brown was in the midst of his best season he's ever had, and headed towards probably being an All-American. And so, you got guys that are invested, they're training all year long, and they're putting their heart and soul into this. So it was an absolute crushing blow. And you say that, and then, the interesting thing to me was a little bit, I don't want to say proud, but over the course of the next 48 hours after that, it was impressive to me to see the resiliency in some of these guys, in the sense of I don't want to trivialize it, but I think a lot of our guys were able to say, man, this, for lack of a better term, this really sucks, but what's the next step, and what do I need to do, and kind of moving forward. And so I think it's a testament to maybe the guys we have in our program, that they were able to feel it and emotionally connect with the disappointment, and then also feel like, hey, what's next for me? And we talk about that all the time, and the mental toughness is sort of moving on to the next chapter no matter what, and for us it's the next point every time. But I feel like our guys have done a great job of that, and it's not like it's not going to hurt, but they've done a great job of kind of putting the next foot forward.
Brad, obviously a lot of pretty much every aspect of the program is affected by this, but how are you kind of expecting, eligibility to weigh into recruiting and guys you may have coming here, and versus guys weighing the decision to stick around for another year?
It's going to be complex. There's no question about that. And I think, again, what in all my conversations with everyone, we're not moving in any direction towards taking any stance with anyone until I think we get great clarity from the NCAA, from the Big Ten, and then ultimately from Josh on what, how the NCAA is going to handle it, how the Big Ten is going to handle it, and then how Illinois is going to handle it. Once we have tremendous clarity there, then I think we'll really start to move forward and formulate a plan. I think at this point, Marcos and I just continue to speculate on, we could do this or could do that, and then we almost laugh at the absurdity of just, there's so many dynamics to it. It really probably doesn't make much sense for us to do too much planning on that until we have better clarity.
You mentioned there's just so much to the situation. as a coach, you got to be doing tennis all year round. It's got to always be in your mind, right? Has that kind of been a change for you? Are you doing things you didn't think you would do that you maybe haven't done in a long time?
Well, no question. It's you have sucked you have sucked the life out of coaches. At the moment when you talk about, and it's interesting for me. I always feel like there's some coaches that maybe prioritize recruiting, but I feel like our priorities that we always talk about it are number one is the communication and clarity with our student athletes. So that's in terms of their games, what they're doing, and then number two is the program as a whole. And number three is recruiting. And right now, at the moment, anytime you can't compete or you can't practice and prepare to compete, you're off recruiting. And so we've got the dead period at the moment. So we're doing a lot of phone calls from a recruiting standpoint, and we're talking to our team quite a bit. But there's a lot of downtime that I'm not used to at the moment. There's no question about that. So,
what do you just think the toughest thing about this whole situation is for guys on your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one thing was the abruptness of it. I will never forget. To me, the Wednesday was sort of the big, that 24-hour period where you went from the Indian Wells on Tuesday canceling their tournament. That was a big shock throughout the tennis world. Wednesday, the Ivies are canceling their spring sports, and you're sort of, maybe it's just being naive. Even at that moment, I still felt like we were going to move forward with everything else. And then I won't never forget, I had ESPN on in the background at home that night as I was getting some things done, and I just remember seeing the Utah, the Thunder Jazz game, and when that went down, and then waking up the next morning and just seeing the dominoes start to fall, that 24-hour period, I don't think I'll ever forget. And then in our team, that Thursday morning, I was on the court with I think 4 or 5 of our guys, and we would be in the middle of a session, and our trainer would walk back and forth in the offices, and she would just say, something else just got canceled. And it's half an hour later, I'm on the court with a different guy, and she's like, something else got canceled. And I think the big one, I can't remember what it was, but I was on the court with Zeke Clark, and she said, this got canceled. We just kind of looked at each other, and we just stopped. I think at that point we kind of knew the writing was on the wall that hey, if all these critically important, the Big Ten basketball tournament gets canceled, I think we knew where we were on the pecking order of what's coming next. That was a surreal 24 hours, no question, for everybody. Not obviously just for tennis, but I think for everybody. I don't think anybody will ever forget that sequence of events from there.